Canto 18. Summary. Geryon has set the travelers down at the bottom of the great cliff that separates lower hell from the rest. They have come to the 8th circle, also known as Malebolge, or Evil Ditch. Just as the 7th circle was made up of 3 separate wheels, Malebolge contains 10 individual ditches wherein different kinds of fraud are punished, specifically fraud directed toward those with whom there was no previous relationship of trust, unlike the fraud punished in the 9th and lowest circle. The trenches get successively lower, and rock bridges, for the most part, connect each, spanning the trenches where the sinners are punished. The travelers need to walk along the ditch until they come to the bridge. Here, within the first ditch, are 2 groups of people, one group walking clockwise, and the other walking counterclockwise. So it is that as Dante and Virgil walk alongside the ditch, they walk against the flow of one group and with the flow of the other, seeing the faces in the first group only until they cross over to the other side. All the souls are naked and are being prodded on by horned demons carrying horsewhips. In the first group, the pimps, Dante recognizes one Venedico Caccinimico, a Bolognese man who sold the Marquis d'Este access to his sister's bedchamber. They cross the bridge after a brief conversation, halting for a moment to examine the seducers walking in the opposite direction. There they notice Jason of Argonaut fame. They keep going and arrive at the second ditch, where the flatterers are punished, submerged in excrement. Dante the poet's language turns vulgar and obscene here, in keeping with where they are. The pilgrim recognizes Alessio Interminii, a notorious flatterer. Virgil also points out Tai, the flattering prostitute from the Roman play Eunuchus by Terence. Canto 18. Seducers and Flatterers. There is a place in hell, Malebolge it is called, all of iron-colored rock, like the circle that all around surrounds. In the dead center of the evil field, there yawns a gaping hole quite broad and deep. I will speak of that structure in its place. That band that remains is round, set between the pit and the foot of that high, hard cliff, the floor divided into 10 ditches. And the figure that is cut in the ground by multiple trenches encompassing castles in order to protect the walls, such an image there these 10 ditches made. And as from such fortresses little bridges span from the threshold to the outer edge, so from the lowest part of the rock reefs travel down the bank and over the moats, up to the pit that, swallowing, ends them. Shaken from off the back of Geryon, we found ourselves in this place. The poet kept to his left, and I came behind him. On the right-hand side I saw new pity, new agonies, and new agonizers, of which the first ditch was completely full. At the bottom were the naked sinners, half on this side walked toward us, facing us. The rest went with us, though with longer strides. Like the Romans, because of the great host during the year of Jubilee, who made a way for the people to cross the bridge, such that on one side they face the castle, and all go to St. Peter's, and the rest on the other side go toward the mountain. Here and there, on the dark rock above them, I saw horned demons with their giant whips, who were cruelly beating them from behind. Ah, how they made those souls' heels quick to move at the first lash! Certainly none waited for the second blow to fall, nor the third. While I was walking, my eye fell on one which made me rather quickly say, "Indeed, to look at this one breaks my visions fast." Thus, to consider him, I fixed my feet. My sweet leader rested along with me, assenting that I might go somewhat back. That scourged one thought to hide himself from me, bowing his face, but it mattered little. I said, "O you, who cast eyes to the ground, if the semblance you bear be not false, you are Venedico Caccinemico. But what leads you to these pungent sauces?" And he said, "Unwillingly I say it, but your clear way of speaking forces me, for it brings to memory the old world. It was I who brought Gisulabella to perform the desire of the Marquis, however the obscene story may sound. I am not the only Bolognese here, weeping. In fact, the whole place is so crowded with us that now not many tongues have learned to say Sippa between the Savena and the Reno. Should you want a witness or evidence, recall our greedy heart." So speaking, one of the demons struck him with his horsewhip and said, "Get you away, pimp! No women are here for you to coin." I again joined my escort. Thereafter, within a few steps, we came to the place where a rock was jutting out from the bank. Very lightly we climbed up, and turning to our right along the rock's ragged ridge, we made to leave those eternal circles. Reaching that point above the yawning ditch, which gave passage to the souls whipped below, my leader said, "Wait, and let the visage of these other evil-born hold you back, those whose faces you have not yet beheld, for they walked with us as we went along." From the old bridge we gazed down on the troop that came toward us within that other band, driven just as much by the demon's lash. And my good master, without my asking, said to me, "Look at that great one coming, who seems to splatter no tears for the pain. How royal an aspect he still retains. It is Jason, who by heart and by sense once deprived the Colchians of their ram. He journeyed in the island of Lemnos after the ruthless and daring women handed over all the men to their deaths. There, with signs and ornate words, he deceived Hypsipyle, that young girl who before had deceived all of the other women. He left her there, both pregnant and alone. Such fault condemns him to such punishment. For Medea also is vengeance made. With him go those that in this way deceive. But let this serve to know of this first ditch, and of those souls whom in itself it mauls." Now we were there where the narrow alley intersects itself with the second ridge, making a shoulder to another arch. Then, from out of that other ditch, we heard people moaning, snuffling with their snouts, and the same punching themselves with their palms. The banks were thickly covered with a mold from the breath below that infects that place and battles against the eyes and the nose. The floor is so deep no place suffices to see it without climbing up the spine of the arch where the rock is the highest. There we came, and then, in the trench below, I saw people thrust in an excrement that seemed to have come from human privates. And while I with my eyes looked there below, I saw a soul's head so filthy with shit, whether he was lay or clerk was not clear. He shrieked at me, "Why are you so greedy to view me more than these other uglies?" I said, "Because if I remember well, I have seen you before with drier hair. You are Alessio Interminii from Lucca. Therefore I noticed you more than all the rest." And he, beating his gourd, "Those flatteries submerged me here below, which I never let grow stale on my tongue." Soon after this, my leader, "Make to push," he said, "your vision a little further, such that your eyes may the better take in the face of that filthy and frowsy wench that claws herself there with her shit-filled nails, now squatting down, now standing on her feet. She is Tai, that whore who, when her lover asked, 'Have I great favor with you?' answered, 'Oh yes, quite extraordinary favor.' But with this let our sight be satisfied."